The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
This is the Alpha Sessions, and I'm here with Daisy Chute. Hello,
Hello.
how you doing?
Good. I'm mid coffee swill. Yeah, I'm really good, thank you.
Good. I'm really excited to have this chat with you because I know that you've got a brand new EP that's out now, which is so exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's called Songs of Solace.
hmm
Talk to us a little bit about it.
Sure. Oh gosh, I wish I have actually all of the singles printed out as artwork. I can talk you through. Oh no, that's a bit much. Okay, I won't do that, but I'll talk you through them just generally. So basically, it's 6 songs. It's sort of somewhere between an EP and an album. You know, it's a concept thing where the idea is it's running from the beginning through to the middle through to the end of a relationship. So it's kind of but it's sort of from the beginning. It's like doomed from the start kind of thing. So it's it's a little bit, yeah, so it's a kind of you know, quite abstract in that sense, but and it's not completely like cohesive, like there's not like a narrative in the song so much, but actually in the videos that we've been doing, we have got 2 characters who are the actors are playing like a narrative story basically to go with 3 of the videos, 3 of the songs. Oh my gosh, that didn't make any sense. I hope that translated. Basically, it's a concept EP about the beginning and to the end of a relationship, and so each of the songs sort of represents a different phase of the relationship, and you sort of see the signs, you know, and you see the kind of it crumbling a little as it goes along, and it's kind of also exploring themes of mental health and depression, you know, and trying to be there for people who are going through that, but without wanting to kind of completely be drawn too dark yourself, you know. Yeah. So it's kind of, yeah, and it's from personal experience, but it's not one specific personal experience. It's kind of an amalgamation of lots of different things over the past few years. Yeah, there we go. I think I probably answered that question way too much.
No, it's great. I love hearing backstories behind EPs, particularly when it creates a level of story or a level of journey, which yours does, which is really cool.
Thank you. Cheers.
So you've chosen to release each song from the EP separately too. Talk me through because what I love about the EP is it creates its own, almost like a storyboard for the journey, but also it works really well each single standalone. Was that like intentional, or because I'm not saying that some EPs don't, but some EPs that musicians release kind of work really well together but don't necessarily work as standalone pieces, whereas yours does both.
Oh, thank you. That's well, I'm glad. Well, I'm glad that's what you think, because like I was hoping that would be the case. I mean, with every song you write, you always hope that it's a standalone song, you know, that will translate in out of context. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that it does. I mean, like I kind of didn't set out to do a concept EP, to be honest. I kind of I wanted to release some of the songs already from it, but then I sort of, as I was exploring the kind of things that were relating the songs, I was like, actually, yeah, there's some things that there are relationships here. I started off musically thinking about that because a lot of the songs actually were in the key of E or E minor. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if they could work together and, like, you know, one going into the next. And so I tried doing that. I was like, oh yeah. And then I sort of started to see the lyrics, how they actually became, how they kind of made a story arc through that too. And I was like, oh yes, actually. And then so that was like with a couple of songs that had already been written. And then I started writing new songs with the concept in mind. But it was it was weird. The sort of, some of the songs came before the concept, and then some of the songs came after. And it's a weird way that works sometimes. It's sort of yeah, I don't know. So I guess I was thinking of that standalone songs really even from the beginning. So I'm glad that they do stand alone.
So talk us through the process of like, how did you get inspired to create that vision for the EP?
I don't know. I think, you know, it's weird because the past couple of years I've been like finding themes on my live streams. So every week I'm like finding a theme and finding ways that things connect. So I think part of my brain is just so used to doing that now. So when I see a couple of songs together, I'm like, oh, how do they connect? Beyond just like, okay, they're in the same key. But like, oh, wow, lyrically I can see that one does this thing, which that one also sort of mirrors. And, you know, so I sort of start to look at themes anyway in general. And so that kind of that came about a little bit. But also I used to love this. I still love this album that is a kind of concept album by a French artist called Camille, and she. The song is the album's called Le Fille, I think, and it was all on a drone of B, so like the note B, and it all kind of blends into the other song. Each song kind of blends into itself, you know, and it kind of becomes this played through thing. And so that was definitely an inspiration. I was sort of thinking about that for, at one point I was thinking of it all being on E, but then the songs kind of ended up going in different directions, and I didn't really want to do that anymore. But it was, that was one of the inspirations. I love kind of concept things like that musically, as well as, you know, the stories. And I don't know, I think in terms of, you know, personal experience, like so many songs, you know, are about heartbreak or, you know, or new love or something. But I like the idea of creating something that traveled between, you know, you follow the story from the beginning to the end, because I think a lot of people can relate to that, you know, from starting a relationship and, you know, all the hopes that you have for that, and then, you know, the you know, a lot of the time, sadly, they don't work out in the end. But it's not necessarily a kind of dramatic end. It's kind of a bit more of a, okay, well, actually we're quite different after all, and maybe we need to grow in our own direction. So so that's kind of, so it's kind of a quiet end of the relationship, rather than like, you know, somebody cheating and, you know, some sort of big event. You know, it's more just a kind of, after a lot of thought, you know, which is how a lot of the relationships that I've been in have ended, really, rather than anything big and dramatic, you know. So it sort of felt more real to me, telling the story that way.
You've also been mega busy and making videos for them, which look really cool. So I was just wondering if you could maybe describe a couple of like your favorite ones.
Sure. Well, I mean, there's 6 songs, and originally we wanted to have videos for each of the songs, but we realized that was probably a little bit ambitious. But we did have a whole storyboard for all 6 songs, that we then kind of condensed into 3 instead. So the songs that have videos are the first, the third, and the 4th, and the 6th. So the first is Secondhand Heart, the 4th is I Wish I Were, and then the 6th is Meet in the Middle, which is the kind of conclusive one. And so so there's a whole video series that goes through that. The only one that's been released is Meet in the Middle, because that was the single I released before the EP, the last single. So it's kind of it's a bit weird way round, kind of to release the last one first, but we decided we were going to do Star Wars, basically. So anyway, so you can look out for the other 2 videos that are coming out this month. And I've just got the final cut back from one of them, so I'm very, very excited for that to come out. And then there's another video that's sort of a standalone thing that is just kind of me singing and playing guitar, and with the drummer who's in the record as well. And you know, it's just in a cozy flat with a fireplace and this kind of thing. So, and that one's for Let Me Be Your Home, which is kind of the cozy honeymoon period of the EP. So
won't you leave the light on when you sleep? I will be home sooner than you think. I'll be home and straight into your arms. Won't you tell me all about your day? The things you said, the things you tried to say. I'll be here to hear the words that got away. Oh, let me be your home. I'll be your home. Oh, let me be your home. I'll be your home. Won't you be the one who I'll be your home.
The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
Obviously, it's really well thought out, and every little bit of detail to create this storyboard has been thought of in my head for years and years and years. How long did it take you to make the EP?
I did a crowdfund earlier this year, as you know, in February, March time, and I'd already had the kind of idea for it from before a little bit, but not kind of completely in its fully fledged form, but like some of the songs had been written already, and then and the crowdfund went really well, and actually more than I thought it would. So I was hoping to raise 7,500 to make the EP, and then ended up like doubling that.
That's
which
insane.
I did not really expect, and so that's why then we could start making videos for it too, because videos can be expensive,
Of course.
Especially when the video director has such ambitious ideas. So and lots of crew, and for the first time ever cast. I have like 2 actors who are playing the couple.
Wow.
And that's kind of quite exciting for me. I've always been the one who had to star in the videos because I didn't have a budget for anybody else. So that's been quite cool. So I mean it's so since March, so it's actually been quite quick in many ways.
Yeah, I was gonna say not that long at all.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, so we were definitely under time pressure in a way, because we were trying to get it out this year, because my album is meant to be coming out next year, and that album has taken a lot longer than the EP, weirdly, but
it's a lot bigger, so
it's a bigger thing, and but also that the producer I'm working with, sadly he's been suffering with some bad health, so so we've had to kind of hold off until he's sort of safe enough to be around people again, basically, because he sadly had to take a lot of chemotherapy, which meant that he had no immune system. Even when he took the vaccines for COVID, there was no antibodies in his system because of the fact that the chemotherapy was killing everything, really. So anyway, so he's obviously very cautious about everything and checking, making sure that he's safe, and so we've only been able to work remotely. But we're hoping to do some more studio time for the album in the next few months, really. So, and anyway, that's for future plans. But whereas the EP I've been able to record at home here. My boyfriend is the engineer, and he's a sound engineer at Abbey Road, so he's pretty well experienced, and he's helped me. Yeah, how useful. I know, like that worked out quite well. Anyway, but he. So he's been very, very busy at work, so it's been hard to it was hard for him to fit it in, basically. So and I felt bad that every time he had a day off, it was like, not really a day off, sorry.
You're helping me now.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, we got there, and so it was all recorded really in this flat, or some of the musicians recorded remotely as well. So
I feel like the fairy lights in the background, we had this conversation off air, / Christmas lights, kind of help with the mood of the EP.
Oh, cool. Okay, good. This is the mood I'm in all the time, basically, is like fairy lights and cozy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mugs of tea.
So I think we had this conversation when you came into the studio, and we thought that restrictions were just coming good, and little did we know that we were about to go into another lockdown.
Yes.
But which seems crazy now because that was more than a year ago. But I was wondering, when you released your EP, was there anything different you had to do because obviously like restrictions were really coming good, or have you promoted it in a different way to how you would normally promote your music?
It's interesting. It's funny because I haven't done that many live streams recently, and that's usually what I've been doing the past couple of years. So this is kind of weird to be stepping away from that while I do more gigs in person, but it's been great going back into gigs. So I did a big launch at the Water Rats in King's Cross, and that was sold out, which I was I was amazed at, because there's so many things going on at the moment. It's quite hard to sell out things, but it was great that it did, and so many people came, and so good to meet some people for the first time who I'd seen online. Like, I see their usernames online the whole time, but never actually meet them, and so that was quite amazing. It was quite a kind of a nice, like, not reunion, that's the wrong word because we hadn't met before, but it was like a weird kind of switch between the online to the live world, and some people even traveled from America and other places far away to come, so yeah, it was that was pretty special last week. And So I'm trying to keep up the live streams a bit. It's just been so hard recently because of the live gigs. So, but I'm trying to keep them up, and I'm going to try and do some more over the next few months while I'm not doing as many gigs. So I've got my setup already, and so I just have to kind of fit it in between the other things I got to do, usual stuff. But yeah.
That leads me really nicely actually to my next question, which is, so you said that you have been doing less live streams, but you still very much doing the live streams. And I think now that gigs have come back, more and more artists are sort of going back to the gig world and abandoning the live streams. Why do you think it's important to keep doing both?
I think the people who have kind of, become fans and supported and I don't know, the people who have discovered the music that is not maybe in their local town, anybody internationally, can discover people from around the world. So I think that it's important to try and keep up with those people in particular, because they can't necessarily make a gig. And so, keeping up with international audiences, but also, it's a kind of, it feels like a nice extra part of being an artist that people now have access to see you in your home setup. You can be a bit more casual, chat a bit more, take song requests, kind of do a little bit of a different thing to a gig. A gig is very much like you have your set list, you have your time, you're doing your 45-minute set or whatever it is, whereas the live stream often goes on longer than that, and you can be a bit more casual, you can try out songs, you can maybe even give people a little bit of a preview of a song you're working on, and it's like a little bit of a different kind of thing, and I think I don't think that one replaces the other. I think they can work side by side quite well, as long as you can fit it in. Yeah.
Do you really think that the live streams are more personal, even though they're not in person, if you see what I mean?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Well, I think, not necessarily more personal, because you can obviously be very personal up on stage as well, but I mean, they're more casual for sure.
Yeah.
So there's more flexibility with time and that kind of stuff, and also you get to see comments from audience members, and so you can sort of reply to people and they can ask you questions, so it's a bit more of a Q&A as well. It's a totally different feel to a gig where it's in a beautiful beautiful stage, amazing lights, amazing sound, that's incredible, but it's very different to sitting at home and having a drink and answering some questions and maybe singing a few songs.
Amazing lights and amazing sound there anyway, so it's fine.
Nice.
She brings up the fairy lights again.
I forgot how much you love fairy lights.
I love fairy lights. So I think we have this conversation pretty much every time I chat to you, but I'm always completely flabbergasted about how much you manage to fit in and how much you continue to fit in and how busy you are. How do you do it?
I don't know. I guess I don't know. I think I just kind of I just have so many things that I'm interested in, and so I kind of don't really realize I'm doing that much work in a way, because I'm sometimes it feels like work, but a lot of the time it's fun, and so doesn't feel like I'm fitting in too much. But I know that I think from ever since I was a kid, I was always doing too much. I was always the person who'd signed up to every club and every so I was every night of the week I'd be at something or other, doing a dance class or going to the the theatre group or whatever, I'd be doing something. And so I've always been used to juggling lots of things and just kind of getting on with it, really. I mean, I don't know, I do realize I can burn out though, so I have to make a conscious effort to take a bit of a break sometimes, and have a lie-in and not feel bad about it or whatever. Absolutely, downtime is so important, for sure. Or have a games night with my brother, as I said before to you, Yeah. No, that downtime's really important. But it's so, I think it's quite admirational to kind of see you involved in so much stuff, and that looking online and being oh, she's everywhere. Sorry about that.
Why don't we meet in the middle? Oh, won't you meet in the middle? And maybe try just a little to see another side. Well, you may say that you'll listen, that you hear my position. Oh, you can promise, but can you compromise? You predicted from the start, push and pull will only pull apart. Are you a lover or a hater? A ley line on the equator? Do you see color or black and white? 'Cause when you try to control it, to pull the moon in your orbit, you are defeated by day and night. You predicted from the start, breakups, makeups only break your heart. But I get lost in the middle of your eyes. I forget as I sink into your sighs, and I fall fast into our bed of lies, and slowly awaken to find our hearts breaking again. Oh, complete in the middle, changing little by little as we live our lives. And can you find satisfaction living life as a fraction? 'Cause it's the promise of our compromise. You go your way, I go mine. Keep your head, don't look behind. Yes, you predicted from the start, breakups, makeups only break my heart.
The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
You've also been awarded the shortlist grant for the Drakeolanda Award. Can you explain to us what that is and what that means?
Sure, yeah. Basically, it was actually something I entered like 2 years ago, and I completely forgot I did. And then I got this email like a couple of weeks ago, I guess it was a month ago or something, saying, yeah, you've been chosen as the top 20 or whatever, out of 600 people or something. I was like, wow, okay. And could you make this date? And luckily, it was the middle of like really busy time with filming the music videos and all sorts of things, and I somehow it sort of fell right in between all the dates that I was busy, so I could make all the things. But basically, what it was it's a grant for up and coming artists to do with what they want, basically. But the idea is that you're investing it in something meaningful. So there was different levels of grants. So some people got 3,000, some people got 500, and I randomly am the one who got 1,000, which is like this sort of in-between grant. Basically, I think one person couldn't make it or something, and so they had an extra 500. So I got that, which is nice. Yeah. And we kind of had this audition day where we would like sing a song or play a song, because there's quite a few instrumentalists as well. And then we would have an interview with the panel, and that was like very quick interview, like literally a minute in. in and out, and then they decided who got what, and so and then we had like a kind of performance day at the Roundhouse as well, which was fun. And not the big venue, sadly, but another venue within the Roundhouse, which was cool. And yeah, that was it was great to meet other musicians, to be honest. That was probably the biggest bonus, other than obviously having £1,000 that I can now invest in my album for next year. So but yeah, so that's what the grant's for, really. It's to invest in musicians, and it's I think it happens every year, except for last year obviously couldn't because of COVID, but yeah, so definitely look it up for any artists who are watching or listening. Drakeolanda, it's the Yolanda is Yolanda Brown, who's like a sax player, who's an amazing artist, and Drake is James Drake, who's like an artist, a fine artist. And
cool.
So the two of them have combined to make this grant. So
nice. You've also got a tour coming up next year. Do you handpick the cities that you want to go to? How does all that work?
Yeah, some people have been like, wow, that's kind of an unusual place to be.
Yeah,
playing,
I was like, that's quite eclectic.
Actually, that's something new that's happened this year as well, that I've actually got an agent who's doing all this stuff for me now. Nice. So the first time I'm actually doing a proper tour. Like I've kind of booked my own shows abroad or like in different cities, but not like a full on like UK wide tour. So this is quite exciting for me. And yeah, so he's picked the places because he knows, he has relationships with these places. So and then, he just recommends them because he knows that the audiences are nice, that they're the right kind of people who would like my music. And sometimes the best gigs are in the most random places, to be honest. Yeah. I actually had a couple of gigs this weekend that were in kind of quite random places that were just like completely full and just full of like a real listening crowd, all wanting to buy CDs. And it was just like, this is great. Oh, well, the one yesterday was actually in an Italian restaurant called Santini's in South London, not even in Croydon, like outside of Croydon, sort of pearly Croydon. And it was just amazing. Like, so the idea was like music and food. So I would like sing a few songs, and then we'd all have starters, amazing food. And then I would sing like a short set, and then we'd have a main course, and then I'd do another set. And I'd sort of go in between the courses, and I'd be enjoying all the food as well. And just it was just the loveliest atmosphere. Like it was seriously, nobody like made us a peep. Like they were just so like such listening crowd and just like really appreciative and said lovely things. And it was just like, wow, this is great. So yeah, I love a kind of random gig, So I'm up for it, and I think so my agents planned all this, and I'm excited to visit some of these places for the first time. And,
it's going to be great. I'm hoping we can get down to a couple too.
Oh, nice, great.
Yeah.
Yay.
So you've got the album coming out next year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the plan? Is there a timeline on that, or?
Well,
are we allowed
that's a good question. Well, no, I mean, I don't have a definitive answer yet, because it all depends on kind of on COVID stuff and on my producer's health and everything. So trying to like just to see how it's going. I've got a few singles I can release as part of that before, but also I have another little project which might happen first. Actually, we'll see. But the other project is like another sort of EP, but it's like I've been working on these settings of these female poets from Scotland. So I'm from originally, and so I've been writing music to this poetry that I've been discovering, and so I've got a few songs now written for that, and that could come out first. So we'll see what happens, but lots more music planned basically for next year. I'm not sure the
really
order
don't
of it.
Stop, do you?
Pretty much, yeah.
So just a reminder to everyone that EP, Sons of Solace, is out now, and they can get it on all your socials. If people have tuned in halfway, where can they go? What can they do to find out more about you?
Sure. So Daisy Chute is my name, Chute. And you can find me. DaisyChute.com has got all the things you could need: the spring tour dates, the the links to the CDs and all the stuff, and mailing list and all that kind of thing. But yeah, Facebook, Instagram. So I'm Daisy Chute official, and Twitter, and I mean wherever. I mean maybe on Twitch, even if you're a fan of live streams, come along and hang out with me one day. But yeah, and the EP, you can find it on Spotify and Apple and Bandcamp as well, of course, and physical CDs are on their way, so you can also get the physical CD
everywhere.
pretty much. Yeah, as you said.
Twitch is a really interesting one, actually, because we've only just discovered it, and it's like a whole nother parallel universe.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
I know. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Yeah, it's you kind of at first it's like such an assault for the senses, but it's like also quite addictive. You can see it was like definitely designed with like gamers in mind, because it's like all the kind of things that kind of pop out of the screen, and it's like just wow, okay, so much engagement the whole time. But yeah, it's it's quite addictive. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on, like I said, and hopefully we'll get to chat to you again soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Play on words, play on strings. How I love it when he sings. Oh, the joy his music brings. Troubadour boy, ingrained in wood and steel and bone, lies every song to craft and hone, and every pluck and strum and moan. My troubadour boy, I adore my troubadour, troubadour boy, my troubadour boy. He weaves his way around the world, leaves his footprints, so I'll know, 'cause I will follow where he'll go. Troubadour boy, I adore my troubadour, troubadour boy, my troubadour boy. He serenades me soft and low, and dares to sing